Well, hey guys, how's it going? Hope you guys are doing really good. Welcome to part 2 of my process for, cleaning up the frets after you put new frets in. So what I've been doing here is using a small mill file, and I'm just working on this area up here, trying to flush those up to the edge of the fretboard. I thought I'd show you a little trick here. This is how I do it. I leave a space between my thumb and the end of the file. You could grind this edge off and make a safe edge too, which I might do eventually. When I'm on this side of the guitar, I let my fingers kind of hang down below the file as well, kind of like this. And my thumb rides on the fret wire. And that way, I'm never touching the top of the guitar, only with the tips of my fingers. Now when you go over to this side, what I do is just let my thumb hang down below a little bit like that, and let my fingers ride on top of the frets. And that keeps me up off the top too. So that's a little technique that you want to kind of master real quick, and get that down fast. Okay, so the rest of them feel pretty good. Oh, I had one hitch right there. So that's what happens after you get down to a certain point. Flip your file over and try it both ways too. Sometimes it'll catch on one side and it won't on the other. Okay, so that feels pretty good. So now what I'm going to do is clean this off a little bit. I got my little shoe shine brush out here, and let's get rid of some of these filings that are stuck on here. We don't need that grinding into the fretboard if we can help it. Okay, so now we're flush to the fretboard here, okay? Right up to the edge. Now you have a squared edge, okay? So the next thing I'll probably do is take my, if I can find it, here it is. I've got this little fret file here, okay? Now one side is smooth, and that's a safe edge, and one side is square, okay? So what you do, you want to take the squared edge first, and just lightly, one stroke, okay? And you want to use this kind of motion. Just one stroke down, okay? And that gets rid of the sharp corner. And you want to do this to both sides. If you want to tape your fretboard off, that's fine too. Especially if you've never done this before, I really recommend it. After a while, you learn the tricks of the trade. You'll find out if you're leaving marks or not. So anyway, I just do this really delicately, one stroke, that's it. Okay, now once you get, when you get up into here, you gotta kind of jig it back and forth a few times, because you can't make the long stroke, obviously. So once that's done, I'll go over to the safe edge, and I'm going to do the same thing. Now I'm going to concentrate more on the upper part of the fret, the round part, okay? And that's how you take care of that. And again, both sides. And with a safe edge, you're not going to cut the wood or make a mark or anything. So, yeah, those feel okay. Now, here's another little technique that I will use too. I'll take a crowning file, okay, and flip it over and find out which one kind of sits up off the fret a little bit. And I'll just make this motion, okay? And you can hear it dragging. It's dragging pretty hard, actually, so now I'm not trying to take any off the top. I'm just concentrating on the edge here, okay? And that will help knock a lot of the sharp stuff out really fast. And a lot of times I'll do this first, and then go down. See, those feel really smooth now already. So, you can do it a couple different ways. You could do this first, then whip them with that fret file, but I kind of like doing it with this one first, and then if it feels sharp still, I'll just go over it with the crowning file just on the edge. Now I've still got all kinds of playability all the way out to the edge of the fretboard, and you know, that's what I strive for. I try not to bevel the edges of the frets off. That's where you can run into problems. So when you're doing this filing on the edges, you can't have your file tipped a lot. You just want to kind of try to ride it in there square, okay? And you can use one of these, you know, if it doesn't touch the top, okay? But if it does, you can still use this out here. That works nice too. But keep checking on it. Make sure you're not digging into the binding or anything like that. So, again, this is my preferred method on how I go about it. Everybody does it a little different, but I find these two tools right here are really all I need. I have some different crowning files. I have a nice Baroque file, which is nice too. But you know, if it's new fret wire, I'm pretty good with just these tools right here. So anyway, what we're gonna do next, that's pretty much just a demonstration. I still need to do this side, of course. So what we're gonna do next is this. After you refret your guitar, you want to get a fret rocker out, okay? And start checking your frets. See if they're in there flat. You got a little rock there in the middle. Not a big deal. It happens. The rest of these feel pretty good. Get a little rock there on that one too. So I'm just going to go down through and check them on the edges and in the middle. 3 or 4 spots. You know, you got to make sure you check your edges. It's got quite a rock right there in the middle. It doesn't look like it's lifted, but it is a little high, so we'll have to address that. Now, what I'm checking for, like I said, is to see how many of these rock. If there's a bunch of them, what I'm going to do is, these feel pretty good. A little high down there. Not bad. So up in this area, I had quite a few. So what I think we'll do next is probably get out the sanding beam, and you know, level these, and then I'm gonna have to recrown them. But the only thing is, you know, if it was just a couple high frets, I would only address those individually. But where there's numerous ones, I need to level that down, so I got a good ground starting point here. So that's what we're going to do next. I'm going to get my sanding beam out. As soon as I find it. Okay. So this is what I'm using. It's just a nice small one. You have extra paper that comes with it. I've used these on fret edges too. Works quite nice. So what we're going to do here is just run it down. I'm not putting a ton of pressure. You're going to feel the high ones. There's no question. There's a lot of them up through here. I can feel a few on the edges as well. So I'm just going to run down through them. I'm not taking a ton off here. Just kind of leveling the tops off a little bit. And like I said, we're going to have to recrown them when we're done, which isn't a big deal, but you don't want to take too much off these. You're really just looking to level out a few thousandths, you know. If they're sticking up, you know, 1/8 of an inch or something, you might want to pull the fret wire out and reset it, you know, or put another piece in. Because if not, you're just going to buzz a lot of frets down to get that one. So that's something else you want to keep in mind. And when they're real high, it'll sound like train tracks. You'll hear a clackety-clack when you run your sanding beam across them. So just going to concentrate on the center here for a minute. Some more on the outsides. Yeah, I can feel a couple high ones in here. I just pretty much do this by feel until I can't feel a lip or a jump in the sanding beam. Okay, so let's just check a few of these. Okay. Get a high one right there, which a couple more here. I don't know why. I mean, they're sunk all the way down in the fret slots, but this happens. Pretty much every guitar I refret. I don't care. It's never a turnkey operation once the frets are pounded in. You got to level them. Seems that way at least. But it's not a big deal. The other thing is, you know, once you just kind of take a little bit off them and you recrown them, they kind of feel like they have already been played and it's got some wear on it. So it doesn't feel like brand new frets and, you know, a weird vibe from what your guitar used to feel like. Okay, so I'm just going to run this easy and see if I can feel any bumps. Got a few there. Now this is another method I like to use, is I like to go this way on the frets, especially when there's a bunch of high ones in one spot. Okay? Another thing about doing this, it takes the striations out of the fret wire itself, and it just kind of runs in a smooth direction. You'll see when you go across them this way, you'll see the tops will get kind of a dull color and they don't shine so much. And that's how you know you're taking some off. And then after you hit that point, I like to do this, and I'll repeatedly start checking these to make sure I'm getting it. You want to span 3 frets at a time. That's it. Still get a high one there. I may take a flat file and just knock this down a little bit in the middle. And I'll check it again. Okay, still a little high. So we'll get right on it. I'm going to buzz that one a little bit too. That one's good. These last 3 frets I don't worry about too much. I kind of usually take these down anyway, just to give it some trail off. It's not like you're playing up here, but we don't want them buzzing and being high either. Okay, that's quite a bit better. Alright, moving right along. Get a high one here. It's down good, but it's, you know, like I said, there's no rhyme or reason to it. They just, some of them end up being high. I don't know. I guess the fret slots weren't cut exactly, but it is seated down in there nice. I just don't understand it, but it happens, so. Alright, I'm just going to lightly run this along so I can feel some of the high spots. I don't feel any in the middle. I do feel some more on the edge here. So we want to take care of those. You can kind of hear the train track effect now. Okay, when that goes away, a pretty good sign that you got them leveled again. Alright, again, we're just going to go over these a little bit in this direction. Okay. Now we go down through with the fret rocker again, and this won't be the last time, but it may be. That one's still a little bit high right there. So we're going to take that one down a little bit more with a flat file. It is seated in there, but it's just one of those things. Now, even if you're not playing up here, you can't have high frets, because if you're playing down here, the strings will buzz on these ones too. So they all need to be right. There's no two ways around it. Okay. We're getting to the point where I can deal with it. I may buzz it down in the rest with the crowning file. That one's kind of high too. So again, I'm starting to isolate these now, as you probably have noticed, instead of just sanding all of them. I only want to take what I need to, and that's it. Okay, we got another little high spot here. I mean, these, we're talking thousandths of an inch. It's not much. Okay, and look good. Looks pretty good too. Alright, so we're starting to get pretty close here. Alright, looks good. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start crowning these. I'm just going to do it with this file probably here. I'm going to get it flipped over on the right side, and you just got to pay close attention to this when you do it. Whoop. And you can tape your fretboard off too. It doesn't hurt. Completely up to you. So all we want here is, we're just trying to round the top off where we sanded it flat, okay? Yeah, it's starting to come around now. I do tap my file out occasionally, just so it doesn't scratch the fret wire as I go. Okay, now those are starting to come around. And you'll see it doesn't take nothing off the top really. It just kind of pulls the sides in, so you get a rounded profile on the top of the fret. Okay, and it takes a little time, that's all. Okay, so I'm not going to bore you with all the details here. What we're going to do now is I'm going to go to my next, show you what my next step would be. Okay. All right. So, micro mesh. This is, you really should get some of this stuff. One side's abrasive and the other side isn't. It comes in many different grits. And then you got fret erasers too. These work quite well. These come in different grits too. And it's kind of like an eraser you'd use, you know, in school. But it's got grit in it. And I just use these for polishing. It'll shine these right up just like a mirror. The only really downfall with these is it does leave like eraser rubber dust behind, so it's a little different, it's a little messier, but it works well. The other method is just to take some micro mesh, and I usually just lay it across 3 frets at least, really light touch. And I'll even go down on the edges of the fret wire with it, like this, and just kind of soften those edges. And once you do that, that really takes all the sharpness out of the fret wire. Again, it's a long process. You know, you have to use different tools to get to the desired effect you're looking for, but at the end of the day, it can be done. It's just, you know, get an old guitar and try it on an old guitar is the best way to do it. And, you know, just practice, really. I think that's the best bet. You know, pull them out, get some fret wire. It's cheap. It's, you know, $15. You can refret your guitar. It's not a big deal. And practice on an old one, and pretty soon you'll get the hang of it. It's just knowing what to look for and what tools to use at certain stages, okay? So once this is all done, and I've polished these, I still need to re-crown the rest of them, but once that's done, I'll just check the edges out again, and if it's not sharp, then we'll string it up and play it. So we're getting pretty close now. Still a lot of handwork involved. It's just the way it goes. Unless you get one of those pluck machines, or, you know, I don't know. I have mixed feelings on those. I've never been around one, but I've heard a lot of stories about them, and I guess it's, you know, it's only as good as the guy that's running it, and making sure that your guitar is in there square and all that. I'd like to check it out sometime just to see it in action, really, but anyhow, this is the old school method. This one's coming out really nice. The fret wire is all the way out to the edge, and it's starting to really soften up nice on the edges. So we'll get it all recrowned, like I said. We'll polish them up. I'll check it with a fret rocker again before we string it, just to make sure. And you always want to make sure that your neck is perfectly straight when you do this, okay? Alright guys, well, I'm going to get back to work. Thank you for watching. Welcome to all the new subscribers. I really appreciate all the support and the kind words in the comments section. Okay guys, good luck. Be good. Okie doke.